Oh, okay, so just listening in to my bodies right now. Oh gosh, okay, let's have a little look what's going on. Okay, I don't know where to start really, to be honest. It's a bit of a funny old times, not just for me. I'm sure I'm not the only human being having those funny old times at the moment, shaping us and us becoming somebody different at this time, or shall I say not being the same old. Thank you. There's a couple coming in guides here. We're just trying to, should I say tune them in? It's very much like that. Okay, thank you. Okay, they want to say, okay, thank you very much. They want to say very much like what's going on for everybody on the planet right now. There's different things happening to different planets, that's interesting, different countries around the planet. And where we are based in the UK, we're slowly trying to get back to normality after having the COVID, not that it's totally gone, but after this period of time. And I keep hearing, and I've had it from a few clients as well, some things that are going on. I'll try and stick with what I mean. Okay, normality. I nearly swore in. If you guys are waiting to get back to normality, I just want to say, what do you think normality is or was? Okay, and I'll explain. This was the message I just kept hearing most today, and I had a couple of conversations with some clients as well when I returned this afternoon, and very much what I'm hearing from the universe and divine, and my angels by my side too. Normality, what the hell's that? If you're waiting for yourself to return back to normality, to get back to normality, to get back to a normal life, yeah, it's not going to happen. Oh, well, I can explain. This is not fearfulness. I don't mean it like that. What I mean is, what I'm hearing is, do you really want it to get back to how it was before? Do you really want that sort of normality? I'll explain. Okay, thank you. What they've been saying to me all day, my guides and whoever has been whispering in my ear most of the day, has been saying to me that there's been a lot of people sort of saying about what's happened at the moment. There's so many changes happening to them, okay? Now, we know this has been happening for some time. There's been some changes going on. But I want to say over the next couple of weeks, and I said this last week, I'm sure I did, and this week in particular as well, things are happening very, 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 very fast energetically, okay? So look at where you are and what you want to happen for you, or whether you want to move into moving forward in your life, because it's happening at full speed very fast. Now this is not for everyone, because some people are going to be saying, what's she talking about? For those of us that have that great word awakening and ascending and everything else about energy, well, it just means that awakening in a sense of being aware of what's happening around you, seeing it as a bigger picture, seeing how your life is changing for a reason, how people might be shifting out of your life, how you might be shifting into some other areas of your life. But that change that's happening to you, that awakening of seeing things that this is not being done to me, the universe is doing it for me. The universe is trying to help you to move forward. The universe is actually trying to shift things out of your life. It's trying to help you to move forward. But there's still a lot of resistance. I just said that. Still a lot of resistance from people at this moment in time, okay? This human programming of us, or shall I say most people wanting things to be the same or go back to normality. There'll be some of those people, or some people on the planet, that will try and get back to normality as much as they can, and they might end up being quite frustrated how life is not going to feel or be the same for them. There will be some that it makes no difference to them. They don't have a clue. They're very closed off. They have no idea, and that's type of society, not type or sectional society, that may not notice any changes at all going on for them, and that's fine. And normally that's sort of some people that may not have been awoken to some degree, and I shall explain. Okay, sorry, all over the place, because I've got a number of different guides coming in and they're all sort of saying this, and they're saying there's so much of information to come through. So let's not mess about. So say, for instance, if you're going for a change in your life, either through having this COVID situation or whatever it is, and the ripple effect of COVID. So, losing your job or shifting and changing within your work field, your position has changed, and that's affected the next ripple around you. Might affect then the finance, and the next ripple might affect like where you might have to move to, because you might have to sell your home or whatever it is. Those ripples affect from whatever's happened to you. And we choose the COVID and pandemic at this time and the knock-on effect of that. So say for instance, like, you know, my son, you know, he lost his job as a pilot, and you know, back in the day you think being a pilot, you're never going to lose your job. So he lost his job because obviously people aren't going on holiday, people aren't traveling to other countries. So that was like a ripple effect. So the ripple effect for him was he lost his job, and through that then it did affect his finances, and also affected like his living conditions. He might have had to move home, whatever. But instead of like having that as an issue and a big problem, he looked at it from another perspective. He looked at the fact of what was it showing him, what was going on for him, what you know, out of the situation, was there something good going on for this? And luckily for him, you know, as a pilot, he was working, doing the full-time hours, but it was sort of part-time compared to some of our work. And so in his free time, he started up a plant business and is doing very, very well, thank you very much. But from losing his position, losing his job, instead of, I mean, he did for a short time, instead of getting so caught up in like, oh my God, I've lost my job and this is a terrible thing, and you know, and it was a terrible thing because he'd done all this training. It was really about him looking at the other side of this. So the flip of the coin, the upturn side of this, was that he had his plant business and it's given him the time to really invest his time into the plant business, and it's doing extremely well. Yes, there's part of him still wants to become a pilot or go back to being a pilot, of course there is, and he says that very clearly. But through what happened, as some people would say, was a disaster, and initially, yes, it was a shock for all of us, and it did affect me as well, being his mum, because everything else involved around that. But instead, he looked at it the flip side up. What is it that it was teaching him? What is it that he could do? How else can he change things around? So plant business is doing very well. And okay, let's, because they just keep bringing it up, and I know, I know this is what they're doing, and I'm going to feel very uncomfortable, I'll just say it. So, you know, like for me, my situation is my relationship's come to an end, and you know, and now it's come to an end after 35 years. You know, it was already on the brink of, well, finishing a very long time ago, but of course it's made the other person very uncomfortable because they want their life to stay the same. So it can't stay the same, because through what has happened with me making my decision, they have to change whether they like it or not. And this is happening for many people, how relationships are finishing, or you know, or they're moving out of a job, whatever it is, because of what's happened globally, because of the pandemic, because of the ripple effect, of the knock-on effect to everybody else. It's made these massive changes in the world, big changes. So, you know, let me have a little look how they want me to say this. So through me changing, through me going through my life, through me having my experiences, like each and every one who hears this, you're all having your own experiences. You're all going through different things for you individually, you know, either through work, career, jobs, businesses, relationships, friendships. There's a few, I'm picking up on some of the energies. There's a lot going on, and for whatever happens to you as an individual, it's going to have like a ripple effect to others around you. Now, be wary of that, because wary of that in the sense of, don't allow others around you to sort of say everything was fine before you, as if to blame you, okay? And I'm not saying that's in my situation, but it is. But I'm saying for others as well, it's like, where these changes happening, they're meant to happen at this particular time. That's what we mean by awakening. It's about looking at what's going on for you in your life and realizing there's a reason behind it. It's helping you to change. It's helping you to shift up a gear. It's helping you to see life in a different shape or form. So what's ever happening for any of you out there who's hearing this, instead of seeing it, something was being done to you in the sense of, oh my God, you know, this is terrible, I've lost this, I've lost that. How about looking at how the universe is coming in behind you really, and just trying to say, we're just trying to change things around for you. I mean, I had a client this afternoon, and her job and everything, and she said, oh my God, you know, my contract's not going to be renewed by the end of March, I'm going to lose my job. And I said, but didn't you want to change your job anyway? And she said, yes, but I wanted to be able to do that myself. But I said, I think you might have put it out there to the universe, because the universe does listen. You know, every time you have a thought, every time you have a feeling, you know, if you want to change a relationship, a car, even anything, the universe is always listening to you, okay? So not focus, but be aware of, your feelings and thoughts, because the universe is really just trying to help you. And it's not like it's you know, some people say, oh, you get punished or it's karma or whatever. It's not that. It's just that she originally wanted to change her job. She didn't like the job she was in. Now she's got the opportunity because the job's been taken away from her. She's got to get off her bum and she's got to go look for a new job. But it's like what the universe is trying to give you, but maybe doesn't know how to give you. In a way, I suppose it's like the universe is sort of seen as like a big puppy dog. You know, it comes up to you in your face and knocks you flying. And you're like, what the hell? But it's just trying to help you, trying to assist you. And so that's very much what I'm hearing today from Spirit, was that I've had a few clients where they've had a lot of shifts going on for them in their lives, and it's really sort of knocked them for six. And I can't lie, you know, I've had a few moments recently where I'm like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Because of all the knock-on changes and all the effects that's going on around for me as well. But it's like, so for me, I knew that I needed to take some time off. So I took the last 4 days off. You know, I went to the beach. I needed that. I needed to be in nature. So I know that helps me. And then sitting there on the beach, I could just then, you know, get out of my head with what am I going to do? What's going on? Because when you're in your head, you can't actually hear, it doesn't make sense. It becomes very crowded, or thinking what's going to happen next, because you're coming from all those old stories that you fed into your mind, everything that's happened in the past. So you get really stuck and bogged down, and you become quite fearful, which is quite normal as a human. But when I sat there and really, you know, I suppose discharged the negative energy, if you want to say, but really, I really grounded my feet. I really sat there and I was really grounding my feet into the sand. And I was sitting there, I was watching this horse galloping on the beach, and I was just, I'm feeling that sea air, and I was just like, oh, I came back to my natural state. I was like, yeah, I'm feeling really good. And I was like connecting to the, you know, I was hearing the sea, I could feel the wind on my face. You know, it wasn't warm, it was cold, but it was just so nice to be out. And just because I could just settle my mind for a short time, and just because I could get to that state where I had a few moments just to be still, to settle myself, I could then just breathe into it, and then the messages came through really clearly, and I could hear the universe, I could hear the divine, I could hear my angels, I could hear whoever is guiding me on the other side were coming through, and it was a lot clearer. So it's really about this time that, you know, we're all going through changes, and that's a good thing. And really, in a way, we should be, not hate should, the word should, but in a way, we'll try and welcome those changes. You might be feeling a bit vulnerable, and I've been feeling a bit vulnerable the last couple of days, especially the last couple of days. But it's like, that's the human part of us. But if I didn't know that I had the divine to fall back on, or if I thought I was a crazy person just sitting there talking to myself, and God knows where I'd be. But for me, I know that if I can settle my mind, whether it's on the beach, or if you can walk in the woods, or you can walk in nature, because that's what nature's there for. If you can take that little bit of time out just to settle yourself and just breathe into it, and whether that's through meditation or just being out in nature, and then just ask them the questions, because everything I needed to know, I just asked, and I just had the information come through so fast. Really fast, and it was crystal clear of my next step. And for me, it's like, they're like my best buddies, that, you know, my guides, they step forward and they keep continuing to guide me. But very much what they said today was very much the same as well, what they said was that if people think they're going to go back to normality, do you really want normality? Do you really want that? Is that really serving you? Was that serving you before COVID? You know, I think we tend to forget what was happening before COVID. You know, there's a lot of us have had ideas about we wanted to do something, and we put everything off. And as humans, we can have those moments, we're a bit lazy and we tend to put things off. But they're sort of saying, it's like having COVID, it's sort of, surely it's made some people around the world start thinking what you'd want to do. Or if something's been taken away from you, it's like, now can you see how precious it was for you? And then maybe when you can get back to your normality as such, that you can then really enjoy it. And for me, it was so much before. I was like just focusing on working constantly. And I know for me, I've really missed that socialization. It's great being on Zoom and talking to individuals, but I really missed going out with my buddies and having a good night out and a good evening out. And so for me, if anything, COVID's made me realise that oh boy, I do never want it to go back to normality as in it was before. I want it to be that, you know, in my mind, I've got my dreams, I know where I want to go to, I know what I want to do. I want to go back to, you know, socializing, and even more because to be around those like-minded people, there's so much energy in there, so much charge. So they just brought me back. So think about, you know, where you were before COVID. Think about what's happened to you during COVID, and look at that, what you want moving forward post-COVID, because it's like giving each of us sort of like a reset button of what we really want for us. And I just said, be careful as in the sense of people who are around you, either friends, partners, lovers, family members, how they might try to put you into a position by blaming you for something where it's not you, it's literally that something had to change, and because of other human beings feel uncomfortable with change, and maybe they're not so awoken in the fact of they don't believe in spirituality or they don't believe in angels or guides or whatever, that's okay, that they're in their space and they can live their life. But it's going to feel uncomfortable for those around you when you start changing, when you've stepped out of your old self and you step forward into the new person or to the next version of yourself, a better version of yourself. So it's that just being aware of like not allowing others to put you into a box because they feel uncomfortable with the new person that you are, they don't recognise you, or you don't fit or match with them anymore. That's their issue, that's theirs. Leave it with them, because if you as an individual, if you're hearing this, feeling this, seeing this right now and you're being aware and you're like, yeah, that's me, then you've moved on. You're in a better version of yourself. You're serving yourself. Okay, and the other thing they wanted to say, which was very clear, they said to me, okay, thank you. They just said to me, for those who have, over this period of time, have had those changes, who have now seen a different version of themselves, or, you know, you're getting all these massive downloads, or in a sense of you feeling that you're becoming aware of this now, becoming aware of the fact that, you know, there might be such thing as angels, there might be such thing as the divine, there might be such thing as the universe, but it's all so new for you. It can feel, for some people, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. And so, I mean, my real passion is so that for those who are really finding their feet at the moment with all this, because it can be new for some other people, that it's really about helping those individuals to move forward and find a safe space. Because it's so important that you not to feel, oh my God, am I going crazy? Because I had that when I was about 19, so you're going back a long time. I can't even count the years, it's so long ago. And I know what it did to me then as an individual. It took me a long time to realise that I wasn't going crazy. Other people were telling me I was going crazy, but really there is something else. So if you're going for a stage at the moment, you're having all this information coming in and you're starting to believe or starting to wonder or starting to think there is more to life than what you see, you know, what you've been told for years, and that you're starting to believe there could be something else. It's really about be gentle with yourself, you know. It's very much at the moment that feeling of, you know, coming out that catalyst, you know, from the caterpillar, that stage of you no longer can be that person that you was, because that felt more uncomfortable than it does feel uncomfortable moving into the new version of yourself. So then you go into that catalyst stage, that change, and then there's a lot of individuals, because I can feel it right now, are coming out that catalyst stage where they're starting to learn new things and becoming aware of, you know, there is more to life than what you see, that, you know, if about manifestation, guides, angels and everything else. Once you start looking at this side, it's almost as if you're starting to receive the information in full volume, and you can feel quite sensitive, like that butterfly with the wet wings. You just, you know, you can feel quite sensitive to it. So it's really about taking care of yourself and finding like-minded people and connecting with them, but also knowing that it's okay, it's going to be okay. But it's about the moment. It's for some people stumbling around trying to find the next version of themselves, and that just takes time, and that's okay, it takes time. But just always keep checking back to yourself how you're feeling, and reach out. And if you need any, I don't know, help, advice or whatever, you know, I'm here, other people are here, it's not just me. But it's really important, because that's what the universe was saying. There's going to be a whole collection of people, as in going out into the world, trying to get back to normality, and feeling a little bit sensitive to the sounds around. I mean, I got on the tube today for the first time since October last year. So where are we now? We're in March. That's a long time. I can't count. Can't do the maths. But there was a few people on the train, and I was like, whoa. It's not packed, but what's going to happen when people start going into London again, where we are, and commuting back into the city again, or wherever, or the town, and feeling, you know, everyone on top of each other, coming close together. So it just means just being aware of that. I mean, yeah, we're going to do it and we'll get used to it after we've, you know, our first time, but it's really about that, being aware of any sensitivities that you have, whatever. Okay, thank you. I'm just checking in, I've said everything I